And welcome to the Throwback Guitar Lounge podcast, episode number 36.
36?
This is part one of Is NAMM Worth It?
Is NAMM worth it? That's going to be the guitar argument today. We'll be heading to NAMM.
Next week.
And, the question is it worth it for us to go? We're not even displaying.
No,
but, has Gibson decided it's not worth for them to go, or at least have the presence that they had? Or Fender? Or PRS?
I think Gibson's going to have, it looks like they're going to have a much smaller presence this year, but last year I don't believe they were even there, period.
Yeah. So we're going to find out. But we're going to argue. So this will be a two-part episode. This is part one.
Right.
Is NAMM worth it? And then once we come back,
we're actually going to go and test our theories.
And then we'll see,
is it worth it?
If we've clarified whether or not NAMM's worth it.
Our decision the whole future of NAMM may hinge on our decision. That's how powerful this podcast has become.
Yes, and speaking of,
but to do, we need some energy to do all this work.
Yes, so we have something very special that, do you remember we had Christmas cookies?
Yes, I do.
The Bonnie, Todd Dine, the kind of behind the scenes person here at Throwback with the strings and everything. His lovely wife made us some Christmas cookies, and this time we asked for cinnamon rolls.
Right, we suggested that,
and
not expecting to see them.
Made cinnamon rolls.
She came through.
But this is a guitar podcast.
As you can see, look at all these guitars here.
I mean, these are valuable items.
Yes.
And how do cinnamon rolls and fretboards go together?
Well, some people like to eat greasy pork sandwiches and then play guitar, but I don't think this lovely cinnamon roll.
I'm afraid this might ruin my technique.
Yes. It could
so you suggested something that we will use some gloves.
Well,
now what other podcasts are you going to see? Guitar podcasts? Will you see the hosts donning nitrile gloves to show their commitment to the integrity of the fretboard long term, but also show their commitment to enjoying a cinnamon roll?
Yes, this is no. We're not trying to cast aspersion on the cinnamon roll. We we have to go from eating this.
It's a reality. It's a precaution.
Playing these quickly. So
in fact, we think the audience will appreciate this.
We respect your time. We don't want to waste any time.
We're heating them up in the microwave first. It's probably pretty hot.
It's hot.
So look, it's got like a large amount of delicious brown sugar on these things.
That's what I thought. It's hot. Boy, it's hot on my fingers.
Yeah, I think you I put mine in less than yours on the microwave there.
I think mine was over a minute 30, I think.
They're pretty good. Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you, Bonnie. They're very good.
I hope you're not offended by the gloves, but, we're going to be playing the guitar because this week we have a new segment called Pickup of the Week. And we're going to play the Throwback 55, 56, P90 Sopar repros.
Nice.
And, we're known for PAFs and Fender style pickups, but the P90s also. And we feel, I thought, maybe we haven't, spent enough time on those. So
I think we could clarify the P90, the Throwback P90 as maybe the looked over middle child.
Maybe.
It's quietly doing its thing in there.
Yeah.
Nobody's paying attention, but.
Well, I mean, people buy them, but it's like, the PAF does kind of, it sort of,
it overshadows them.
It overshadows and kind of drives the narrative, sort of, would you say?
But the P90s, your attention to the historical accuracy of those is, I think, very, very good.
No, I'm a little afraid, Matthew.
What? We're reading too much?
That you will fall asleep through this.
Why?
From the...
I'll have a diabetic coma.
The diabetic coma that will ensue.
Well, I've got coffee, so that's all I'll have.
Todd assured us, though, that these are health food because they only have brown sugar. So thank you, Todd and Bonnie, for looking out for our health and well-being with and butter.
I just thought maybe we could actually combine a third element to this podcast. I could show you how to remove your gloves the way that they teach you in the American first aid classes.
Oh, sure.
So you get everything clean. So the first one, your first hand, you take this hand and you pinch.
Okay.
And then you pull
show the camera. You're hiding it.
Am I hiding it? You pinch away, and then you pull up. You pull your hand into a ball, into a fist.
This will assure that the delicious sugary bits will not find their way onto the all-important fretboard or guitar finish.
And then you pull that one into this fist. And then you take this finger. Wait a minute. Let's get that back. And then you slide it up the side here. You see that go underneath?
I mean, these have a lot of sugar. I mean, you can probably hear me crunching the sugar.
If you have contained all of the
delicious brown sugar that's just...
So no sugar will get on the fretboard.
Sort of melted, but still has a texture. Well, these are the sorts of tips that are lacking in...
So ball it up.
Yeah. And then I get the other one.
No, get that one off first.
Oh, okay, all right. Oh, sorry.
But ball it into that fist.
Oh, I see. And then I do. But
you go underneath. So you don't want to touch.
Well, I think I'm safe.
Potentially, you may have contaminated your.
I think we're good.
Your fingers.
Okay. So this is another guitar podcast first, I think. Don't you think?
I think we've made history today.
Let's go on to the throwback mailbox. Again, thank you, Bonnie and Todd. Todd delivered these. Bonnie made them. And so we got to think about what other dessert options are befitting a guitar podcast. We've conquered the hazards of this.
Yeah. I think anything's possible.
And I think, too, so we asked for cinnamon rolls, and cinnamon rolls appeared. And I think that the logical conclusion of this is, if we ask for free guitars, someday they will appear. I mean, is that too far of a stretch?
Well, you did that. You weren't asking for free guitars last podcast, but you were asking for some help to help finish off your collection of
that's right
86 to 88
got to work up to the free guitar. So
Fender Stratocasters.
Well, we started with cinnamon buns or cinnamon rolls and cookies.
What do they call that? You have to manifest.
That's right. You visualize it and
call out to the universe, and then it comes to you.
You could happen.
Okay, ready for the mailbag?
Okay, yeah, let's get to the
mailbox, not mailbag.
Mailbox. Throwback mailbox. There's a few items here.
Okay. So we had
viewer comments, videos, previous episodes.
This maybe is, again, a sign of our increasing influence in the podcast guitar world, but this viewer writes, "Hello all. I heard of Throwback for the first time from the Know Your Gear podcast," which is Phil McKnight's podcast.
That's right. A real life YouTube influencer.
He's the real deal. I've since become a huge fan of the Throwback podcast and have been listening since the first episode. It is the content, yes, but also your inimitable mannerisms. Is that me saying that word right?
I guess so.
Inimitable mannerisms. Thank you for that. I'm a novice guitarist and love the blues. I've taken to playing along with your music segments, and I'm slowly studying and learning what you play on the show. It's been a great way to learn how to play some blues.
It's cool.
So there you go. Teaching guitar is perhaps an unintended consequence of the Throwback Guitar Lounge podcast.
Wow. Thank you. That's nice.
Thank you very much.
So we'll play, you know,
do some
I'll
of that
play
today.
the same blues thing that I usually do.
Okay.
Later, and just after this. Oh, you know what? There's one new thing too that we haven't shown yet. We're on the air.
There you go.
Right there. Our drummer, Mark, who has given us this as a addition to the show. Great idea.
Lights up.
Well, we'll have to figure out, maybe this is the permanent home for it. Maybe we'll give it to Paul out there so that he knows when we're on the air.
He can pay attention.
And then he'll keep the... And Paul is here. He was not replaced by Rosie the dog.
No.
And that leads to your next viewer throwback mailbox question.
Well, Rosie, if you were watching last week, Rosie made her appearance at episode 35, her first appearance, and then someone is asking, did you choose the name Rosie for your dog because that's the name of Mick's dog on That Pedal Show, which is from the UK? And I can honestly say no. That was the dog belongs to my daughter Bridget, and that was her dog as a little girl.
And it's got a tag that says Rosie, I assume?
She named it.
I thought it had a tag.
I don't believe it has a tag, but but she named it, and
it might have a tag that says, and you've not called it by the right name. The dog.
No, well, I asked, and they said Rosie. So
the dog. Oh,
I said, "What's the dog's name?" And they said Rosie. So I wanted to name it properly on the show. So there you go. It's not named after Mick's dog.
Okay.
Although Mick is another.
We're not
of the
trying
show
to piggyback on the Pedal Show's successful segment and.
But they're friends of the show too.
Yeah.
They've mentioned us and they've shown our pedals on their show.
Yeah, and Dan before he was even doing, or Daniel before he was doing YouTube stuff, he contacted me to barter for pedals for rigs he was working on. So
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
Okay, we're going to go on. Is there more?
Well, do we want to talk about the new guitar that came out this week? You had the Murphy Lab guitar.
The Murphy Lab guitar. Oh, you mean the Keith Richards one?
The Keith Richards guitar.
Sure. Let's talk about that. It's not really there he is with a very large guitar.
So that guitar was introduced.
He's a giant rock star, but he looks like it looks big, like a big guitar for him.
That guitar, I guess this is the first Keith Richards signature guitar that I've ever heard of. Maybe there's been one way back when. I don't know.
Yeah, we thought about that. Like, why on earth did Gibson manage? How did they manage to get this to happen instead of Fender?
And he said, Richards, when you see the videos for it, is saying all the kind of usual things. Oh, it's a huge honor to have a guitar named after you or to have a signature model. And he was genuinely tickled by the whole experience. But these guitars were made available, I guess, on this past week, and they're gone. I think they were gone within probably hours.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, what I found, there was 100 made for dealers. And they're Murphy Labbed. It was a 1960 ES 355. 50 were made available at the Gibson's garage in Nashville and London.
And they were signed on the back of the headstock. Those
ones were. So the
rest of them had the tag inside.
They all had the tag inside that was signed, but the ones through the Gibson garage were signed on the back of the headstock personally, obviously by Keith. And I checked on Reverb today, and there are at least three guitars.
There's people flipping them already.
Each of those guitars were selling for $10,000 more than the asking price.
Oh wow!
So they haven't. One was on hold. One with his signature on the back of the headstock was on hold, and the other two were available. But you would have paid. I think at Sweetwater had them for just under $20.
Now so of the ones that were up there, they all had the signature on the back of the headstock, or just one?
Just one.
Okay,
just one. That one, they wanted.
But all of them, they were 10,000 more.
I think it was just 10,000 more. Yeah.
Okay.
But they were trying to flip them already.
So we're on the air. So Matthew,
back on the air. Can you see that? That's live.
Yeah, we're on the air, and so let's go on to the pickup of the week.
Pickup of the week. This is a new segment.
Pickups of the week. And again, we talked about these are P90s, and I should get them right now. Okay. These, Matthew, you know what kind of pickups these are here?
Those are Soap Bar P90s.
These are Soap Bar P90s. Why are you? That was you.
I didn't have a guitar.
Okay, so these are our 55, 56 Soap Bar set. These are based upon the pickups in my 56 vintage 56 a Gold Top, which had had and have long Alnico 2 magnets in the neck pickup and long Alnico 4 in the bridge. I made the bridge a little hotter in this than my actual vintage guitar, but that sort of difference in A4 bridge, A2 neck, I think was Gibson's attempt, because I've seen this before with humbuckers as well. You sometimes see A2 in the neck, and I think this may have been their effort to kind of balance output by putting the weaker magnet in the neck position. But in this set, it makes for kind of a nice woolly sound with the neck pickup. So 7.6K for the neck, 8.1K for the bridge. And we will play this lovely guitar. This is a 2009 historic reissue R6, 1956 Gibson reissue. Okay, Matthew.
Do I need something?
You get a bass, and we will be right back. We'll hook these things up and we'll play a little bit, and that'll be that. Be right back. Okay, we're back, and Matthew, I'm going to play this clean a little bit, because people typically think of P90s as being sort of fat, distorted rock and roll tone that they certainly can deliver, but clean, they sound great clean as well. So here's the middle position. Bridge.
Nice.
Neck. All right. Let's play the standard.
Which is, what do you want to do? C?
Hold on, I gotta remember. That.
Is this
It's C.
with the quick change? You want
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Just follow along.
Okay. Very nice.
All right. That's the throwback. So bar set.
That's
55, 56 SB.
And this falls in the sort of the middle of the output range. Is
That's
that right?
right. Yeah,
that we offer.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. We have the 5254, which is 7.3K neck, 7.6K bridge. The 5556, which is 8.1K bridge, 7.6K neck. And the special SB, which is 8.8K bridge, and I believe 7.8 neck.
It's the higher.
I should have that memorized, but I think I'm right. And we are going to have, for 2026, we are going to introduce an off-menu set that we've had for a while called the KZ90 that is wound just to a turn count on our KZ LP 115 winder that came out of the Gibson factory. And those have been in some celebrity guitars.
Oh, really? Oh, that's right. You there have it.
Yeah.
I never remember now.
So
one was made a while ago, too.
yeah, and they sound great. But I've never added them to the website. They've just sort of been an on request by request item, but there will be added as a permanent item. But we got to get a guitar to showcase them in. Have to buy another one.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
on the. When you said that the KZ 115 winder, you called it the LP.
KZ LP. KZ slash LP for
LP.
Les Paul, because he's the one who took it out of the factory.
Right. But I was thinking to myself just now, well, it came out of the Gibson factory in Kalamazoo.
Yeah,
But it also came out of Les Paul's home in New Jersey.
that's right.
Went to auction. We bought it. You bought it.
Yeah, yeah.
Came to us.
You think about it. Who on this planet has a machine, a pickup winding machine that was purchased by Gibson in 1950, used for P90s and PAF pickups at Gibson, and taken out by the factory by Les Paul himself, rescued so it would not be lost to the annals of time?
Or it could have been just scrapped.
Could have that, yes. And then he brought it to his place. I don't think he really ever used it because it was missing a bearing for the tailstock.
Right.
But we have replaced that bearing, and it's making great, wonderful pickups for throwback.
Well, last year was the 10th anniversary of us having it. And I remember it after it arrived. You had that thing fired up in no time,
Yeah.
and we were winding on it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
I actually
interesting.
thought the bearing would be a really hard pain in the
Tush.
to get fixed, but I brought it to the two Dons that make our guitar strings, and it's a machine shop. They make guitar string winding machines, and they had the bearing.
Oh, really? They had the
They
bearing.
just put it right in there. Like they didn't even say anything. They just like opened a drawer, took it out, pressed it into the thingy with the vise, and like wow.
Done.
Yeah. So, we got that set up, and still has the original fixtures and wire guides, which is a big deal. Okay. All right. We're going to put the guitars away, Matthew, and we're going to be back with the guitar argument.
Oh, we're doing the guitar argument next. Good.
Yeah. And the guitar argument, again, remind what the guitar argument is.
Is NAMM worth it? So
Is NAMM worth it?
NAMM,
Is it NAMM worth it for us to fly it over there?
It's if anyone does, I'm sure everyone who watches probably knows what NAMM is. But
Yes.
NAMM is the annual, now really the only, I don't think they do a summer one. It was the winter big musical, retail for all of the manufacturers, for all the retailers. This is their big show. They would go and see the new stuff, put in orders, for their year. So it shrunk after COVID. It closed down, during COVID. It shrunk, and last year was the first year they'd gone back to their regular time slot
It's actually the
In
first year
January.
we went back
in 4 years.
in 4
Yeah.
years, and it had actually, it was actually more sort of happening than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be quieter, but it was pretty pretty raucous.
But it'll be interesting to see if the trajectory is up or down compared to last year when it comes to whether or not it's still a happening event.
Yep. All right, we'll put these away.
Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Matthew assures me he's ready for the guitar argument. Let's go right to the guitar argument. Matthew, remind viewers again what the guitar argument is.
Okay, this is a two-parter. We're going to do part one today. Is NAMM worth it? Is it worth going to California to travel and go to the NAMM show? And
you're going to say it. You're going to defend that it's worth it.
I'm going to take the pro that it's.
And I'm going to say that it's not worth it, which is maybe fitting since I'm the one footing the bill for it.
Yeah, exactly. I just want a free trip to California.
Okay,
that's all I want.
So we're going to argue for 5 minutes. I got the timer right here. Let's start now. Matthew, tell us why it's a great idea.
You get to go to the show, and you get to feel immediately like what is going on in the music industry, in the music instrument retail industry, with builders, with suppliers. You get a quick sense of how healthy it is, what we're kind of rely on to keep the lights on here and to keep everybody roofs over their head. So it is a good barometer.
Don't you think it's? I think it's an antiquated model as to how people learn about products and as to how companies sell their wares, and it's an awful lot of way to go, and an awful lot of money to spend to accomplish something that is more effectively done online.
Well, you could argue that. I mean, but at the same time, you can buy a guitar online, you can look at it, but you can't feel it and play it online. So you've got to be there in person, to pick the stuff up, to see the stuff that's new, that's coming out.
Okay, so you could say that.
You'll just give me that
now,
point.
who is the biggest? So that makes sense in a world where most people that buy a guitar actually touch the guitar before they buy it.
Right.
I think that it's probably, well, I don't know the statistics on this, but wouldn't you think that it's a very, very high percentage of guitars that are sold to individuals that are buying them with only based upon a picture and specs that they see on a screen? They're not touching a guitar.
Well, I know some of us buy guitars like that.
I do that. Hey, but I mean, everybody does. But so you would say, well, maybe a place like Sweetwater actually has to see the guitars first.
Sure.
And these are the giant retailers, online retailers that are responsible for so many sales. I would guess that Gibson Fender are all too happy to fly to Fort Wayne and to present their latest and greatest to Sweetwater so that they can sell as many as possible. I don't know that happens, but I bet it does.
At a fraction of the cost, what it would cost to get a booth. And
so, therefore, if you're Gibson, Fender, whoever else, why would you spend, who knows, untold large dollar figure to go to Anaheim, take that time out of your schedule to and that big chunk of money to show up in Anaheim and to have defend that?
Well, I think what it does is you're able to, one of the most important things that I've found going to NAMM over the last so many years is that there are those little impromptu meetings or you just run into people that you didn't expect. That's hard to put a kind of a dollar figure on. What does that do for your company and for your business or building your brand of, when you show up and you talk to, maybe you have some builders who are customers, they get to meet you. You have maybe met you before. They only know you because, well, you send them products and you have a good relationship with them. But then to meet them and to shake their hand and to talk to them.
The equivalent of showing up today is a podcast like this. You have contact with the people who are enthusiastic about what you make. So you have contact with fans that are or want to know the latest and greatest from your company. And then you have something out there always to be discovered by the curious that may have heard of your brand. And how are they going to hear about it now? They're not going to hear about it through NAMM. They're not going to hear about it through a guitar player, pick of the week or anything like that. That's old news. That's what, when we were teens, that's what we had to go on. And it was an exciting thing. NAMM and the guitar player issue after NAMM. You look forward to it. Now,
well, that's another good reason to go.
You actually get immediate release of any new products.
But the other good reason to go is that
demos and everything.
As a podcaster, you get to meet your adoring public. Maybe get mobbed by them.
That's right.
Could be like Beatlemania there.
Okay.
Or Throwback.
All right. Let's go to the cool down. That's 5 minutes. So again, I had to take the negative of that because I was assigned the NAMM naysayer. But okay, so let's talk about it now. I really enjoyed it, NAMM, prior to COVID.
Oh no, NAMM was a sort of it was like a bucket list thing. I always thought, it would be nice to go to NAMM and to see it. Now, I never thought it would really happen. I didn't think that, and this is going back when you started reading, maybe Guitar Player, and you understood what NAMM was. And that probably goes way, way back. But it was like the North Pole, for guitar players, and it was like going to Santa's workshop. You're going to see everything that's new. It's all going to be in one place. You can play stuff. You can talk to people.
Well,
but pre-COVID, it was. It would wear you out. It was so busy and loud.
Yeah, and it's a big convention center, trade show complex, and I guess it has been, prior to COVID, been one of the largest ones at that venue.
Yeah, I think they were
as far as attendance.
Yeah, they built those newer halls that are on the north end of the complex. Those were full of everything from sound equipment and recording equipment, and there was things in there that was just packed.
Yeah,
and you could, if you were interested, like, well, we're interested in this with the amplifiers and guitars and guitar makers, and there's a whole other section. But actually, this year, one section where we would go and see callings is there'll be no guitar.
Yes, it's obviously you were going through the layout of booths and everything today, and it's obviously shrunk.
Mm-hmm.
And you thought not only has it shrunk as far as there now being one less floor, but you thought it might even appear to be more spread out as far as the concentration of the booths.
It's hard to tell, but it appears that way. But maybe when you get there, it actually won't be. But it looks like there are just fewer people on the floor, the main floor, which is huge. I don't know how many sections are of that. There's 11.
What's interesting is the first times we went and John and Pete from Rainbow Music here, who I knew since like the local guitar shop that's now unfortunately closed. But as a teenager, they're the place, kind of the favorite shop in town.
Mm-hmm.
And other than they thought that if I touched a guitar, it would mean I was going to steal it, which they got over at some point. But I would never do that. But it was that sort of thing. I mean, I think if you have a shop like that, they probably think like, oh my gosh, every kid that comes in here is going to touch this thing. It's going to bang up the guitars. So all the guitars had, ask first tags on it.
Right. They always had those.
Yeah. So but they'd go and we'd like have dinner with them and they'd say like, oh, yeah, this is a good show. But the great shows were when, there'd be Aerosmith playing at a venue, after the show.
They could tell.
Like there were offsite parties after the show that had big
Big
popular
name acts.
big name acts that were performing for, Fender or Gibson or whoever. And I guess that was really the heyday of it. But when we went before COVID, it was huge.
Yeah, every square foot of space was taken.
Yeah.
Well, actually, when you brought that up about the off-site thing, that seems to be something that is growing. Gibson will have, I believe, from what I can tell, will have a small presence on the floor, and then upstairs on the second level. I don't know if those are going to be invitation only or just meeting rooms with retailers. But a Fender, it has, there's one room. There's a Fender something on the main floor, and I've got to.
Yeah, we're still wondering what the real presence is.
Yeah. They hint at things, and then when you, like last year, they said they were going to be there, and they were there, but you couldn't go in.
Yeah, so
unless you had an invitation.
Yeah, I think that unless Gibson and Fender come back with some sort of meaningful display that's open to everybody attending, that it's going to be hard for that to sort of for the attendance to stay to grow. Mm-hmm. I just imagine it would continue to shrink, but
well, then the other thing that's competing now is that there are more off-site things happening. So one of the bigger ones that seems to have grown quite a bit from last year is this Woodwire and Volt show that is being put on about 2.5 miles down the street from the Anaheim Convention Center.
Yeah.
And it has over 40 builders, guitar makers, pedal makers, amplifier makers. And actually, one of the ones that surprised me was the Fender Custom Shop.
Custom Shops there.
Their master builder people will be there. So those are the guitars that are built by one person in the custom shop that cost $8,000 to $12,000.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're going to go to that. We went to it last year.
Yep.
But I can't imagine going for just that.
No.
So people are going to that who are also going to NAMM.
Yep.
But it's not going to be a draw without NAMM.
No.
But the list of people at this is it close to double than it was last year?
I would say so. I think 20 to 25, maybe last year, maybe as many as 30, but this year it seems like a lot more people.
Yeah, I always wonder with this too.
Exhibitors.
Is the exhibitors at something like that, and to a lot of NAMM is without the sort of major names, you have a lot of sort of odd, or smaller makers or sort of oddball things that somebody's idea that they think this is how to get exposure. And a lot of those you only see once. You're not going to see it next year.
Yeah.
But they're kind of throwing, I think they kind of think like we're throwing everything we have at NAMM. And that's going to make or break us. And maybe at one time that worked. But, were you going to say something?
Well, I know the first time you went in 2017, you saw people like that.
Yes.
You kind of wondered, I don't know if this is going to work. And then
yeah,
you never
that's
saw them
actually
again.
part of the chart. Well, part of the interesting part of it is you'll see so all sorts of quirky, weird musical stuff, products that you're kind of like, I never thought of that. That's interesting. But then you think like, is anyone going to buy that? And every once in a while you'll think like, oh, that is the coolest idea. But, I think, again, once upon a time, the way to sell a product was you go to NAMM, all the dealers go to NAMM,
mm-hmm.
and you start a dealer network at NAMM. You get commitments to sales at NAMM.
Yep.
You get your product. If you show up every year, you get to meet with your dealers. They know you're a going concern. You can grow a business.
Right.
None of that. I think if you're a business now, you're not relying on the dealer network, and your online presence is the way that you can communicate to the final customer what you're doing.
Yeah.
And
That's a big change.
how does that coexist with NAMM? And then obviously this is what the big companies have already kind of are grappling with, and maybe they've made their decision forever about that. I don't know. We'll find out.
Well, going back to Fender, I mean, we talked about it last week. They have a new CEO who comes in a month, and he's got to make his mark. He's got to do something. So,
also, they have these showcase shows. What anchor stores like this guy had one in Japan, right? Or that's what he was responsible for.
Yeah, here's
Fender CEO.
It's Bud Cole's the new guy coming in at Fender. He created and oversaw the flagship store in Tokyo. That's the first Fender flagship store that has apparently everything in it. So
do they have a flagship store? You mentioned this in Nashville. Does Gibson already does?
Yeah, no, Fender doesn't. I thought to myself, I mentioned to you, well, if I was Fender and I was going to put a flagship store and I'm based in California, do I put it in Los Angeles? Or New York? And I thought, no, I think I put it in Nashville.
Yeah.
Put it in the middle of the country. Start there.
It's a music destination.
And you've got all these players.
Yeah.
And you've got people coming through there all the time, going every which way. So,
well, you think about the investment that it takes for something like NAMM, and then, they probably think, does it make sense to put that time and effort, money and effort towards something like a flagship store?
In something permanent instead of a trade show. So, be interesting to see what happens.
Okay, is that it for the cool down, Matthew? Should we go on to your Rorschach riffs?
Yes.
You were going to do a guitar Rorschach riff.
I worked on a guitar one this week.
And would you want to play the same Les Paul?
Sure, let's play the same one.
Okay, the Les Paul here with 5556 SB throwback P90 soap bar pickups. Let me get that guitar right now. Maybe I can do this with a drum roll. Okay. Let me hook the guitar up here, Matthew, and I will. I did not mention something about. Maybe I can sort of explain this real quickly about these pickups. If you had a vintage Les Paul like this, the bridge pickup, if it were vintage 56 Les Paul, it would sit lower in the route. The pickup route in a vintage 1956 Les Paul is shallower, and people often end up shimming the pickup higher in order to get the bridge pickup in particular, as close to the strings as possible. With a vintage bass plate, that doing so will begin to expose the metal base plate and expose the edges of the cover, which cosmetically, isn't great. Mm-hmm. So our remedy to that is, even though we do offer the vintage base plates, we tell people that the vintage base plates are really only a good choice for a vintage restoration. These have our vintage modified base plates, which have the same mass, same materials, and same tinned finish as a vintage base plate, but we fold the tabs that otherwise would poke up above the route over so that we can put a taller cover on these and accommodate the shallower route that a historic reissue has. So you don't have that cosmetic problem, but you have the same arrangement with the little dimples kind of poking into the magnets, into the bobbin of a vintage P90, which I think is an important detail for the final tone of the pickup, because it actually kind of compresses the coil. Mm-hmm. That arrangement that Gibson came up with in the 50s. That's preserved with this set, but you don't have the problem of having a shorter cover that exposes the base plate and all that. So, all right. Matthew, you are... let me get to the right screen here for you. Okay. You want a little dirt with this? Is this right?
Yeah.
I think you got that. Let's see. Show your hands there so people can see your lightning fast technique.
Should I do some hammer? Do some hammer out there.
You may be giving lessons at this very moment.
Some people they want to see that. I understand.
So okay, we'll explain Rorschach riffs.
Okay, so I'll go through.
Now we also, people may not. It's possible. We had a comment. Who is Rorschach and why doesn't he do his own riffs? So this is the famous ink blot test.
Right. So we just give you a little smattering and a little taste.
So you can, it could be anything, and it's open to your interpretation as to what it is. It's up to you to find the meaning hidden within.
But we're
so there's a real song here. Well, 5 real songs. Where's the 4?
4.
Okay, you're going to play little snippets of 4 identifiable, hopefully guitar licks, runs
that you may know,
that we should know, because these are famous songs, well known.
They are. These are very well known songs.
I hope you're right.
Okay.
When you are ready, Matthew.
Okay.
Start riffing.
Now it always makes me sweat when we talk too much, but you
gotta
just
jump
into it. Look at that. Here we go.
Is that 4?
That's 4. And I'm just giving you little snippets. I really cut it down because I thought if I give you too much, you're going to know.
First one, I think I know.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Do it again.
Let's do it all again.
I'm going to turn it down a little bit, though. Wow, that was kind of loud. Hold on.
Let's take this
okay,
off.
Sure. You're taking the dirt off there.
No dirt on this one. So we'll do it again.
You may have hit it just a little hard because of the verbal
encouragement.
Yeah. That's 4?
Oh, okay. You messed that. Let me do the last one alone because I messed it up. Okay, now that's.
Oh, okay.
That's the bare bones. I can give you a little more.
Okay, I think I know that one now. Okay, I think I know 4. I think I know 1. Okay, play 2 by itself because I'm having a hard time separating what the different ones are.
I'm going to put a little dirt on this one for 2. Now, this one in particular, I can only give you this little interior snippet.
You can't give me any more than that?
I can give you more, but if I give you more, you're going to know it immediately. But
okay,
I can give you hints, and I can give you, if you want more of anything, I can give you more of anything.
Okay, give me 3.
A little more of it?
Well, I play it again because I'm not sure I even heard
play everything in order, or just play the 3?
Just play 3. Oh, okay. That's very identifiable now. Okay.
Should I play a little more for the viewers at home?
Okay, now play them all 4 again. I think now I know 3.
Should I add a little more to any of them?
2, I'm going to ask you to add more, but play them all through again without adding anything.
Without adding. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
A little more?
Okay. Now I think I know 1, 3, and 4. Okay. Now 2 is what I'm having a problem with.
Okay. That was done on purpose.
I can see the 4 I'm not terribly clear about, but especially when you play them in sequence. But I think I know enough to know what it is, and I think I know why you don't want to play more because that just little bit more will just make it obvious.
Yeah.
Okay, but 2. Can you give me a hint? Play 2 again, and then give me a hint.
Play 2 again?
Yeah.
Okay, hang
on. So it sounds like initially it sounds like A Whole Lot of Love.
Mm-hmm.
But wait a minute. It is a whole lot of love, I think. Okay.
Do you want another hint, or I think
no. Actually, I think if you don't think it's a whole lot of love, I think I'm going to be able to show that it is a whole lot of love.
Oh, it may be what you think it is.
Okay.
It can't be shown that it is.
Okay. So I have had my picks. Although play 4, can you play a little bit more of 4? Because 4, I am not positive, but I'm pretty sure I know what it is. Okay. All right. I know what it is.
Okay.
Okay. Play everything once more for the viewers
Just the
and
abbreviated
listeners at home.
version. Just abbreviated.
Yeah, the whole 4 sequence.
Wait, that's wrong key.
Okay. All right.
You ready to reveal to all?
Yes. Number 1 is Beast of Burden
Correct.
by the Rolling Stones.
Right.
Number 2 is Whole Lotta Love by Led Zeppelin. And if you say it's not, it definitely is.
It is.
Okay.
Now, where is it? Where am I pulling there?
That riff goes da 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 da, and as it's kind of going out, he alternates between da 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 and da 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 da.
Yeah, it's in the outro.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
it's a little nice little. I think you showed that to me.
Yeah. Initially, I was thinking like, oh, this is like the signature lick.
No.
And I thought, but then it's like, this is the sort of like variation on the signature riff
in the outro part.
in the outro. Yeah.
Because I thought I always wanted to use it, but it's like, well, you can't use it because it's too identifiable.
Okay. 3 is China Grove by the Doobie Brothers.
Correct.
Okay. And 4 is La Bamba. No. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Well, then.
You can get it. I thought you would have got it when you added a little more.
Okay. Well, do it again.
Hang on, let me get this mic out of my way.
Oh shit. Okay. It's a Twist and Shout.
Correct.
Beatles version.
Right.
It's almost the same though at the beginning, isn't it? Play it again.
Well, La Bamba is like, I can't remember what. La 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 la.
Yeah, it's a different key.
La la la.
Yeah.
I think they do it in
Yeah,
C,
but
maybe.
yeah,
Los Lobos did it.
Yeah. Very similar though. Okay. Well, I failed on the 4th one.
Well, the 3
You stumped me.
Good
Good
I thought you had
job.
for sure. There you go.
Or maybe the viewing public got that.
Should we go until I just leave the guitar on?
Yeah, yeah. So you're going to go into your musical musings, and then we'll wind the show up here, Matthew. Let's turn your guitar off there, so we don't. Let's see here. Let me get to where we need to be. Here, you're going to musical. Here, give me the guitar. Oh no, I pushed the wrong button, didn't I? Here, I'll
You hold it.
I'll hold it. We can all view it.
Okay, so my musical musings, I got this book for Christmas, and I thought, oh, this is great. I can use this for content for the show. So can you see? There we go. Ozzy Osbourne Last Rites came out in October, and the picture on the back too. You have to see that. He looks a little crazy, but
Do you suppose it's intentional?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
You think that is what it is?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, this book came out just in October, and the book covers Ozzy's sort of. It picks up. He had his first book came out in 2010 called "I Am Ozzy." This book sort of picks up from. He has a fall at home in 2018, 2019. His health starts to decline. He's trying to get back on the road and finish the No More Tears 2 tour. They have to keep delaying it. And he's hoping to kind of get things together. But what he does, he sort of tells what's going on with his health, and then he tells sort of amusing stories of his rock and roll life. But
And no, you said you came up with a new system
I have a system now
for evaluating and rating rock and roll biographies.
yeah. So
Explain it. You know, we have Rotten Tomatoes. It has so many tomatoes, right?
right.
And what would be there's a star system, obviously. There's Michelin stars.
Right.
There's what is it? There's got to be something else that I'm missing here. But you have an interesting system. Explain it. You've explained it to me. I want everybody to hear this.
Well,
I think it's an interesting. I think it's an interesting and
unique way of
unique to the genre and appropriate to the genre.
Yeah,
of rock and roll
biographies and autobiographies.
Yeah.
It's called it's like a star system, but it's a showerhead system. So I would give a book. This book, for example, gets 5 showerheads.
Okay, now that means that explain why it would get 5 showerheads.
I actually wrote it down. It said this book is 5 showerheads. What the idea is behind it is that you get sort of sucked in. Oh, that's my favorite rock star, my favorite guitarist. I want to read about his life, and then you're so kind of horrified by what he's done. You're thinking, how is this guy alive? How did he make it to 70? You have to wash
it from your memory, or you have to. You feel as a human being, you feel like somehow your soul, somehow as a witness through this book.
Yeah,
you've kind of received some of the tarnish of these stories.
Yeah,
and it takes a shower to wash it away, and it takes 5. This is so filthy.
Yeah,
it took 5 showers.
It's a 5 shower head rating.
You could do a website. It could be Matthew's 5 shower. Book review, 5 showerhead book reviews.
Well, I found
someone's going to take that. Someone is going to take that URL. You better sign that. Find that URL. Get that URL right now. Call it 5 showerhead reviews.
The only
showerhead reviews.
I found this when I read some biographies, some rock and roll biographies that came out in the 90s, and that's when I first found this. It was like you'd be halfway through the book, and you're thinking you're committed to. I just want to finish this, but this is like too much to take. It's like some people's lifestyles were like, oh my God, how is this person? How did they do this? But Ozzy
commitment.
I mean, Ozzy took a lot of drugs and drank a lot of alcohol. It's like, holy manoli. You're wondering like, how did you? But anyway, enough about that. There are some very good kind of stories in it, and the best one is his story with when he met up with Lemmy, and he was in the late 80s. He was trying to do the No More Tears record, and he said to Lemmy, Lemmy said, hey, Ozzy, how's it going? And he said, well, not well. I can't write any lyrics. I can't come up with any good ideas. And Lemmy said, oh, I can do that for you.
Oh, really?
And then he went and visited him when he came back to Los Angeles, and he gave Lemmy some demos. They had the demos done, or the songs, really, the musical part of it done. Lemmy listened to them and said, well, when do you need these back by? And he said, well, as soon as you can. We're trying to get this record done. He said, well, all right, come back in a couple hours. And then Ozzy said, well, wait a minute. I'm not that fast. But he said, well, I'm not writing War and Peace here. And Lemmy was very well read. He was a very voracious reader. So he said, give me a couple hours. Ozzy gave him 4 or 5 hours, came back, and Lemmy said, where have you been? And then gave him lyrics for Mama, I'm Coming Home.
Oh, wow.
And Ozzy couldn't believe it because he had toured with Ozzy in the early 80s on the Ace of Spades record, opened up for them. He knew Ozzy, and he knew his relationship with Sharon Osbourne, Ozzy's wife. And Ozzy said he just nailed this, the song.
Yeah.
And that's really become Ozzy's signature song. And then he couldn't believe it. And then Ozzy said, well, I've got 2 other versions for you if you're interested. But he ended up writing 4 songs on that record, and said he told Ozzy that he got more royalties from that record than from all his Motorhead catalog. So Ozzy felt that that's true. He said it's kind of criminal, but it was Lemmy was an interesting dude. I was able to see Motorhead here in town, here in Grand Rapids.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
In about 2007 or 8.
Where were they playing?
At the Orbit Room.
Really?
Yeah. That was loud.
Wow. Did they have an opening act?
They had 2 opening acts. I think it was supposed to be, one of the acts couldn't perform because I think there was somebody who had bad health. I think it was one of those like classic LA punk bands, either the Cramps or somebody else. And then there was another band from I think North Carolina. I can't remember their name.
I saw one band at the Arbor Room.
Who did you see?
It's going to be embarrassing.
It was a new
I
wave.
think was it the Jets?
I don't know who they are. Was that like a bubblegum band?
Yeah, it was some sort of like late 80s band. This is Betsy, woman I was dating at the time, my current wife, well, only wife too. She wanted to go see them. I think they were called the Jets.
The Jets with
I
two
think they
Ts?
were from. I don't know if they were from Fiji or something like that.
Oh, I think you said this one. I really we looked it up one time.
And I mean, they were a good sort of like. They actually was a good show.
But they were a pop band.
Pop band.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing I saw there. Yeah.
Oh, I just wondered what other musical music. Last week it was Jimmy Page's
Wait,
birthday.
no.
Sorry.
Oh, no, my gosh. Oh, no. I don't know if it's part of the same show. Who did the song Things Can Only Get Better?
Things can only get
Things
better.
can only get better.
It's an English band?
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh, big haired guy. Synthesizers.
Like haircut 100, something
No,
like that.
he's a solo act.
Howard Jones?
Howard Jones. Yep. I don't know if it was part of the same bill or if it was a separate show.
He would just perform by himself, wouldn't he?
I think so. Yeah, I don't think he had. You know what? I think he did have a band.
Did he have a band?
I think he did have a band. Yeah. Yeah. That's anyway. Sorry, interrupted your story there, but it wasn't nearly as cool as seeing Motorhead. Okay. I think that we're going to the outro here, Matthew.
Well, hang on. I just wanted to say last week we forgot to wish Jimmy Page a happy birthday. It was
that's
his birthday
right.
last
You mentioned that.
So I think we'll do it.
Yeah.
Today.
Happy birthday, Jimmy Page. Belated. Happy birthday.
So I think what's going to happen, we're going to do an in-between show when we're away.
Yes.
But then we'll do part 2 of the Was Nam Worth It in, I guess, 2 weeks.
That's right.
So
We're
stay
going to bring
tuned for
Paul
that.
along, and he'll give his impressions as a new sort of NAMM experience
Yeah.
for someone that doesn't play guitar.
I'm looking forward to what he thinks.
He may just want to go straight to Disneyland.
Yeah. He said, drop me off at Disney.
Okay. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Thank you for watching.